Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I will show you a game which I played yesterday online against someone rated a little bit over 2200. There are three goals in this game. One, I want to show you an important trap in the Caro Kann. Two, I will show you how to convert an advantage. And three, I will helpfully be able to make it easier for you to calculate variations. So let's begin. The game begins with e4, c6. We have the Caro Kann. So the main move is d4, but there is another line, which is the two knights Caro Kann, where white can set a trap. And this is what I played. Black played d5, knight e4. And here, the main move for black is to bring out the bishop and pin the knight, but black can take. And so far, this is not terrible. Obviously, we take back, and now black has to be a little bit careful. If we go to the analysis board, this position has still been seen about 1500 times on the highest level. And black usually does not want to play the move which my opponent played, which is the most natural move, which is bishop f5. Bishop f5 attacks the knight, so the most logical move, of course, is to drop the knight back, which is what I did. Now the bishop is attacked, going back is the most natural, but the problem is white is already quite a bit better, you can tell. And why? Well, the reason is simple. We play h4. The threat is h5 to trap the bishop. So black needs to give his bishop a square. And the move to play is pawn h6, which is what black played, and now knight e5. And here our opponent actually played the best move. He played queen d6, but I just want to show you what happens if he drops the bishop. If he drops the bishop, we're going to play queen h5. Okay, we are threatening checkmate, so black needs to stop at pawn g6. And now, even more interesting, we don't save the queen, we play bishop c4 first. The logic is after pawn takes, we have bishop takes checkmate. So let's say he starts the check with e6, the main move according to Stockfish. And now we save our queen, but we save it here. And the logic is we are now threatening to take, and the point is once we take, this falls. So if black is not careful, let's say he just develops knight f6, we take, let's say he takes, we take here and he gets mated on the next move. King moves, queen checkmate. So obviously black does not have to fall for it, but already, as you can see, we have more space, we have 4 pieces in the game. Black has 1 piece, and it's a fairly questionable piece. So this is not great for black. So I just wanted to show you this idea. In the actual game, black played queen d6. Okay, but still, this is good for white. Why? Because we take the bishop. Obviously, he takes with the queen. Taking with the pawn is terrible because these pawns are not very good. This pawn is isolated. So it's best to take with the queen. But now we have 2 bishops in the long run. Pawn d4. Pawn d4, controlling some space. Idea of bishop d3. Black played knight f6. In this position, my move is okay. Computer wanted bishop e2. The problem for black is his queen doesn't have a lot of squares. I think my move is third best. Bishop d3 attacking the queen. The queen has 1 safe spot, which is queen g4. But I calculated that after this, if we look at forcing moves, we take, he takes. Now we play bishop f5. The reason we play bishop f5 is we're attacking the knight, but also we want to go here attacking this pawn. If the pawn moves, we go here anyway, so white wins something. So this is what I went for. So queen takes, knight takes, bishop f5. Knight saves itself, bishop c8, and now black should minimize his damage by losing 1 or 2 pawns. But black made a pretty serious mistake. Now bishop takes, attacking the rook and the knight. So black wants to cause trouble, and now it's important to calculate that if we take the rook and he gets our rook, his knight in the end will not get out alive. So this was calculated. So we took, he checked. King g2, attacking the knight. Knight takes rook, but now first we can take this with check. And now we need to come up with a plan how to get the knight. And the way is simple, we want to take it with the rook. So the plan is we move the pawn, we move the bishop, and we take. By the way, if we go back a couple of moves, this is why the king went to d2 instead of d1. On d1, it's also playable, but it does block the rook. The plan after king d1 would have been pawn b3 and bishop b2, and pick him up with the bishop. Anyway, let's return to the game. So bishop takes pawn, king moves, pawn b3, pawn e6, and he falls. This is not scary because it can be blocked. Takes, and again, when you're up, you want to trade pieces, so every trade brings us closer to victory. King c7 attacking the bishop. There is no need to rush to take the knight, he is not going anywhere. Probably the best move for black is to give up the knight for a pawn, since he will lose it anyway. But rook d8, okay, that's the end of the knight. King d6, forcing another trade. When you're up, you want to trade pieces. Knight e4, bishop takes, and here black resign. So several lessons. One, remember this idea, and a lot of your opponents will fall for it because in the normal Caro Kann way we play d4, d5, knight c3 takes, bishop f5 is the best move, or one of the best moves, because now knight g3, bishop here. The point is we spend time on d4 instead of knight f3, so we don't have our usual threats. In our line though, if we rewind, this works very nicely because our knight is already here, so h4 is a lot more serious of a threat. And then another thing to remember, when you calculate, don't just look one move ahead or two moves ahead. You want to see how far you can take your calculation. So in this position, obviously we trade, but you don't just stop there. Ask yourself, what forcing moves do I have? Also, you ask yourself another question. Does your opponent have any weaknesses? Anything that's loose? Anything that's not defended? And automatically you should be able to spot this pawn. Can I get there? Well, yes, I can. We go this way. So takes, bishop f5, bishop c8. And now again, you want to make sure you don't just grab this, you want to make sure you can get this knight back. This is why in this position I spent 21 seconds figuring this out. So check, king moves, and the point is the rook will pick up the knight. And lastly, remember when you're up, you want to simplify, you want to trade pieces. Not necessarily pawns, but pieces. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you have not done so yet. Help me get to 1000, and I will be back soon. Thank you.